afternoon. We're okay? Yes? Good? So this is the first one?
Yes.
Ah, that's why we're just going like, hi, how are you kind of thing.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So it's been a year since you last talked to each other. I mean,
That's it.
not a year, but I mean, since last year.
Maybe half a
1
year.
month.
Oh, for months. Okay. Right. So, as some of you might know, my name is Karina Nazzari, and I work for Cultura Inglesa São Paulo. And I have already, I've already been here or being presenting for Disal a couple of times. And today we are going to talk about Discourse, and we're going to understand a bit about what Discourse is, how we can use this, how can we use this in the classroom, and why. Okay? Right. So can you read this sentence for me, please?
I hope it's not big.
Okay, but listen. We have a question mark here, right?
Yeah.
So can you help me with the intonation?
Oh, yeah.
Neymar? Everybody?
I hope it's not big.
And here we have person B
B.
speaking. If person B is saying Neymar, I hope it's nothing big. What happened next? Oh, sorry, what happened before?
Another question.
Someone said something about Neymar.
With the person next to you, what can be another something that we can write here to make sense?
Neymar has broken.
Huh?
Neymar has broken.
He's recovering.
He has broken
Has broken
his toes.
Yeah, what was it, the foot?
The name of the phone that she
But was it the foot?
Yeah,
No.
Not the foot.
The toes.
The toe.
It's Neymar
Ah.
had an accident.
Oh yeah, he did. But what happened?
This person says Neymar. I
Oh.
hope it's nothing big because you don't know, and then you
Broken
continue the
bone.
conversation.
No, but I don't want to continue. I want to know what happens before.
He's recovering.
He's so I say, oh, he is recovering, and you say Neymar. Does that make sense?
No. Who is recovering?
Yes, maybe because you say he's recovering. I don't know who.
Okay, so we go like this. So A says he is
Recovering.
recovering.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I bet.
Let's give it a try. So can you please be A and can you please be B? Can we? So A says,
He's recovering.
Neymar, I hope it's nothing big.
but then again, if I say he's recovering, what comes before?
Recovering.
He's in the hospital.
Sorry?
Could be like, is he okay? He's in the hospital. Or is he?
If I ask is he okay, do I know who he is?
Oh, no.
Because I finished saying Neymar. I mean, really Neymar? What happens before this one here, letter B?
So, Neymar broke his toe playing.
But then
It
next
Can be
person B
a
who
soccer
doesn't know
player.
who's broken.
A soccer player had an accident.
But letter B says that?
Do you know which soccer player had an accident?
And then letter A says he's recovering. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
Ah,
I think on letter A, the person
over here.
No, he's recovering.
Uh-huh.
I think the person, she or he, they say the name Neymar because he says the name Neymar.
Ah, okay. So maybe in here we say Neymar instead of.
Yes, because the next sentence says Neymar, like sure.
Okay.
Neymar,
So we go like Neymar is recovering, and B goes.
Neymar. I hope it's not big.
If you say Neymar is recovering, what might have been said here by B?
Did you know some soccer player had an accident? Or have you known? Have you noticed?
Someone said the Brazilians.
Sorry? Someone said? Yes, Olivia?
Yes, she's thinking about, he's in the hospital. And he's recovering. No.
Ah,
No. Because B is
yes. And Neymar is recovering, and B goes, Neymar, I hope it's nothing big. So what can come here before Neymar is recovering?
What happened to the game last night?
No.
What happened to the game?
No, what happened is Neymar and
What?
Which soccer player?
What happened?
you could see how he's
So,
B doesn't say Neymar because B will be
Yes,
surprised.
yes.
So what happened? So know what happened.
Brazilian player.
What happened?
Sorry?
What happened to the Brazilian player?
What happened to the
And
most
it says
famous
he's
Brazilian
recovering.
player?
What happened
The
to?
person doesn't know. Neymar.
So what happened?
To the soccer player.
In the
Or to the Brazilian soccer player? So I say, what happened to the Brazilian soccer player? You answer?
He's recovering.
Or
Neymar is
Neymar? I hope it's nothing big. But then again, what happens before?
Oh my God.
I was watching a game. And suddenly,
and a player got hurt.
And a player?
and they had to stop the game.
So, I am A now, right? So, I was watching a game and a player got hurt.
Yes,
And then B goes,
he's recovering.
What happened? What happened to the Brazilian player?
so if I say I was watching a game, is it enough?
No, I was watching
The game is
How do you say soccer?
Ah, say that again. I was watching
PS
PSN,
and
PSG.
PSG, of course, Paris Saint-Germain. I was watching PSN game and a player got hurt. And then, so let's start again. A, I was watching a PSG game and a player got hurt.
What happened? What happened?
What happened?
In this case, it needs to be the soccer player because the person
Brazilian? Why
said he's
Brazilian?
watching PSG game.
Ah,
Say the person is Brazilian.
okay.
So what happened to the soccer player?
And then, Neymar is recovering.
he is recovering.
No, Neymar.
Neymar's recording.
So, this might not be very interesting, right? So Neymar is recovering, and you say?
Neymar.
I hope it's nothing big. But then again, how did we get to the Paris Saint-Germain kind of conversation? What happened before?
Have you watched the game?
no. What did you do?
What
So?
were you doing yesterday night?
Have you seen on TV? Or
We can have, what were you doing yesterday night? Is it possible? So let's give it a try. So you are B and I am A. Okay, so everybody?
What were you doing yesterday night?
Well, I was watching a PSG game and a player got hurt.
What happened to the soccer player?
Wow, Neymar is recovering.
Neymar.
But then again, somebody had to start the thing, right?
have you heard the news?
No.
Oh.
I'm so tired that I slept very late.
Oh,
Everybody's sad.
I
Everybody's
slept late and I slept late.
Everybody's worried.
Okay? So, now I am A and you guys are B, okay? So, I'm so tired. I slept really late at night yesterday.
What were you doing yesterday night?
I was watching the PS game and the player got hurt.
What happened to the soccer player?
Well, Neymar is recovering now.
Neymar? I hope it's not big.
So, what is this? What is this that we have created now? Huh?
Maybe a dialogue, a conversation.
A conversation. Okay. So what type of text is this, the one that we have created? Written or spoken?
Both. The first spoken, then written.
But where do you think you would see this in writing, or would you listen to this?
Listen to spoken.
So, basically, spoken, okay? Where would you listen to a conversation like this, the one that we have created?
Between friends.
Or, okay,
In pairs, maybe
In a classroom.
in a classroom, but if it's in a classroom, who would be talking to whom?
With the students.
Okay,
the ball.
you mean students, male students or female students?
No, maybe
Matter.
Ah,
It was part of this conversation.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter.
No.
I had never talked to my girlfriends about Paris Saint-Germain, for example. Me, Karina. I'm not really into soccer, right? So, okay, but yeah. Who would talk about this? You were saying students, teacher and students. You mentioned streets. If we are on the streets, who would be talking to each other?
Like friends
Or
of
people
ours,
like soccer.
people like soccer, the fans of the Paris Saint-Germain team.
Karina,
Yes.
I think that this kind of subject, we have to know the person. To
Really?
talk about soccer, or at least to know that the person likes soccer.
Okay.
Because if I meet a friend, or maybe two guys, two boys, but they don't care about this,
Like
they're
me.
not going to start talking about soccer.
You-
Or maybe we belong to the same soccer club or the soccer team, or
Do you think that here in Brazil, we can all, I understand we have, this is the kind of conversation that is likely to happen among people who have similar preferences. But as we are here in Brazil, and as soccer is something that we kind of,
Part of our culture.
it can be part of our culture. So let's imagine we go like, have you heard? There's a soccer thing, or you might not necessarily be interested in the soccer itself, but you might be a Neymar fan and not necessarily a soccer fan. All right, you might be into the Brumar kind of relationship, and then you kind of, you kind of want to know what to do and how to actually relate. Okay? And my questions, with the person next to you, how did you manage to answer questions 1, 2, and 3? And how did you manage to complete the dialogue together with me? How did you do that? Okay? 2 minutes with the person next to you first. Off we go.
No, first of all,
teacher, you gave a clue, maybe.
Sorry?
With that question there, you gave a clue. And then we went back.
Yes.
Yes, we went back.
But why do you think you managed to get back?
but I don't think it's necessarily really to know what happened. Because it's like, Alexandre, people just know. And then you ask, not necessarily about the husband. And we knew already that he had an accident. We had the information, but not necessarily would be something like that.
Yes, she said it's a real fact.
Okay?
Something
Watching
So, how did you manage to answer all the previous questions? Or how did you manage to make up a dialogue based on my last sentence?
Based on Neymar.
So do you know who Neymar is?
Yes, we know.
Yeah, we live on this planet. We know who he is.
You talk to foreigners, that's the first thing that they ask. I was talking to Russian people, they knew no English, but they said Neymar.
And you managed to understand that this word, yeah, okay, fair enough. So, if I know who Neymar is, can I complete the dialogue?
Of course
Yes.
you do.
If I don't know who Neymar is,
I would say like the
Who is Neymar?
Yes.
yes, but then again, is Neymar an English word?
No.
Do we need a translation for that?
No, not.
Okay, cool. But then, sorry? Macy, that would be a good one. So, when we started going backwards, you told me the very first option you used was he's recovering.
Yes.
But then sometimes people came to me and said, but you know, if you say he is recovering, it doesn't make sense. We have to say Neymar is recovering. Why did we have to use Neymar? To link with
Following.
the answer, right?
Yes.
And then we prepared a question, which was what happened to the soccer player? And then you said no, but put Brazilian soccer player because we had to identify Neymar, and it made sense at first, right? But when we included, I was watching a PSG game. Does that make sense to write Brazilian here? How do we know it doesn't make sense?
Because didn't get good.
Because it's in a context.
Because it is in a
Context.
okay. So, for example, when
Within the team, there's not always. There can be a lot of players from many nationalities, and you can't know exactly who got hurt. So, if you ask specifically about the Brazilian soccer player, then the person should. You expect that the person knows or that the person knows what happened.
okay. So if I were talking to a very close friend of mine, I could have used he.
Yes.
Because if I know my friend, and if I know that we both like Neymar, I know who the person is. And is this information here related to phonology? In the sense that if I change my intonation, things get better?
Yes.
Yeah, so if I try different stress patterns, will I discover anything?
We change the meaning.
Sorry?
We change the meaning.
But we change the meaning of a particular word.
Yes.
Changing the meaning of a particular word, changing the pronunciation of one word here, is it going to impact the whole thing?
It depends on what word. Like if you say, I was watching a football game and the soccer player got hurt. Like I'm talking about this, a specific one, it's like a big one.
So the specific one is going to help you understand what comes before and what comes after,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But is it going to give you the general idea of the whole? Not really. Right? So, what about grammar? Knowing the English grammar, is it going to help you here?
No.
No, it-
But will you make sense of the whole thing just based on grammar?
No.
What about vocabulary? Is vocabulary going to help you here?
Yes.
In what sense?
Context. You know what you were talking about.
Exactly, but if you didn't know who Neymar was,
You would know that he was a soccer player, and you couldn't continue the conversation.
Yes.
you wouldn't know what sort of stress to use, because you go like Neymar question mark. You don't know like Neymar or Neymar, who Neymar? You don't know how to stress. You don't know how to create questions or sentences because this doesn't make any sense. Or you don't know vocabulary to use, because if you don't know Neymar is a soccer player, you could use cook, you could use recipes, you could use restaurants, thinking that Neymar could be a famous chef. Right? So, all these things, they are important, but we cannot make sense of things without, okay? And this is what we did. We analyzed the discourse. And based on discourse and discourse analysis, we change phonology, we change grammar, and we change vocabulary. So much so that if you consider McDonald's, they go like, I'm loving it. And I'm loving it is not appropriate according to grammar. But because McDonald's, they have the ad, they wanted to convey some sort of discourse, some sort of message. So things are changing. In other words, when we did this activity here, my question, were the pieces of language connected? Was our dialogue connected?
Oh, yeah.
Yes? Right. Was this sample of language that we created spoken or written? Okay. Is this sample of language coherent?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Is this sample of language cohesive? Do the sentences make sense within the context?
Yeah.
Do you recognize this as a dialogue?
Yeah.
Why?
A and B. A and B. Questions and
Answers. Okay. So, could we identify the people who are talking here? Or could we have an idea of who we're talking? Because the first thing you told me, friends. You didn't tell me, it was a father and a son. It could. But again, most of you want to say, who's talking? Friends. Where? A bar, street. Why is it that you think of these ideas, a bar and a street? Probably because we are here in Brazil, and from your background, you might hear people talking about soccer in bars, on the streets, and to friends, right?
Common places.
Yes. And these common places over here and all these things that we already know is what is going to tell us more information about the idea of discourse, which according to Scott Thornbury is any connected piece of writing or speaking, like the ones we created here. Okay? Or again, according to Thornbury, is the study of stretches of language, and they have to be cohesive and coherent. Was our dialogue cohesive?
Yeah.
Coherent?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we also, when we study discourse, it's also possible to analyze this from a more social and cultural perspective, in the sense that if you told me that the two people talking were friends and they would be on the streets and in bars, it's probably because here in Brazil, that's where we are used to finding these conversations happening. Okay, so it's not something that you have just created now. It's something that is together with us as part of our identity. So we are immersed in a whole context of discourse. And discourse analysis is going to help us better understand the reasons why people talk and the reasons why people write. Okay? That said, according to Sepúlveda, discourse analyzes the communicative roles and identities that people have in interactions, as well as the intention of each participant. Okay? It analyzes the language, it analyzes what the language is used for. So if we go back to what is the intention when B says Neymar, I hope it's nothing big. What is the intention here?
Confirm.
Huh?
To confirm.
More than confirm.
I think he's worried.
Oh yes. Like, oh, poor Neymar. Oh, there's the World Cup. What about the Brazilian team? And right. So, okay. So here.
The team or the French team?
Sorry.
The French team.
Oh no, know, but if he's hurt, I don't know I don't know who this person is, Julio. If the person says Neymar, I hope it's nothing big. It could be a Brazilian fan being worried about Neymar not participating in the World Cup. It could, right? So it could be people worried, right? We never know. Okay, problems here. Questions so far? One important thing to know about Discourse is that when we think of textbooks, Discourse is usually part of skills lessons. So it's not a system and it doesn't have a clear cut, let's say, focus if you compare Discourse to grammar and vocabulary and phonology. Usually, you are likely to have like a reading or a writing lesson, and you go like reports, and then you have features of reports, and then you have, okay, so where are people, what is this conversation happening? So these questions which might connect to Discourse, they are not separated or they're not divided, but they are inserted in, let's say, lessons which revolve around skills: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Okay? We are going to try this activity here. So what is it that you see? Sorry? This is a symbol famous. Where is this symbol famous for? Where is